Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's trial day 18 of the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed replay crew. Everything will be timestamped down below. I can't believe it's May 28th. I don't know what's happening. I hope that all of you took a moment yesterday for Memorial Day, or at least for those of you that are within the US. It's been a wild trial so far. Just a reminder, this is the only trial day this week, but I am going to split it into half. So I'll talk to you more about that at the end of stream, because I really want to hop into court today, because we have lots of life stuff going on this week. So I have a hard stop today, but I will catch you up on the afternoon tomorrow and I will tell you in the text crew, on the app crew, where and when I am streaming tomorrow. So we are all in the loop. But today we are rejoining the cross-examination of ATF agent for now, Brian Higgins. He was on the stand on cross-examination at the end of Friday last week. And we know that Alan Jackson is not doing cross today. The defendant had to agree that her other attorney, Yannetti, could take over the cross-examination. So we're going to resume cross of Brian Higgins with Yannetti. At the end of the day, there were a bunch of objections sustained as the court was sustaining objections to Alan Jackson, asking Brian Higgins about if he knew that accessing this kiosk or machine or whatever at the FBI lab was potentially a federal offense, because he's accessing, government resources for personal gain. And he was doing that to extract certain things off of his phone and provide those. There are trainings when you work for the government that there are a lot of rules of things that you cannot do. Will he be prosecuted for this? I don't know. Will he be fired for this? This is the type of thing that gets people fired all the time. You cannot access government resources for personal use. This is essentially personal use. He could have turned his cell phone over. He could have not turned his cell phone over. He could have said, no, come get it for me, or come get it from me, get a warrant and get my cell phone if you think you're gonna. So there's a lot of things that could have been done. And ultimately, whatever he extracted was not what we saw in court, because what we saw in court was screenshots. And he didn't even talk about this extraction using a kiosk. He said, I talked to my friend and my friend said the best way to do it was screenshots. That's what he said on direct examination. The best way to do it was screenshots. Well, there's this whole ass other part of that, but they didn't use it in court, and I wonder why. So is Higgins going to have some problems with this? Yes. Is that why we saw Higgins' lawyer coming into court? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So today we are going to get into that cross-examination. We're going to roll the intro and go right to court. Remember, if you want to stay in the loop, especially as the weeks get weird, and access some of the behind the scenes of CrimeCon and a meetup that I am doing with the Law Nerds, and an event I am doing with YouTube that is a closed event, but I will be sharing all of that in our member spaces in the app and on YouTube. So make sure you do those things, but you can go ahead and join the app and I will keep you in the loop on Meetup at CrimeCon and the rest of it. But we've got to get to court.
Hey there, I'm Emily D. Baker, the internet's go-to legal analyst, breaking down the legal side of the pop culture and entertainment stories we can't stop talking about. I'm a big fan of the cursey words. I've been a licensed attorney for over 17 years, but this is not legal advice. This is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not... Let's get into it.
Are we ready for the hear ye, hear ye's? Yes. Is it super bright in my office today? Also, yes. Can I balance the light any better? Not without hurting myself. So we're gonna roll with it, and I appreciate you for that. All right, let's roll into court.
So can I see it sidebar?
Of course we're starting at sidebar. I'm waiting for him to hear ye. Sir, we would like to hear you. I don't know what my hair is doing this morning. It is going to earn the wrath of me in a minute. I can't believe we're already at sidebar. I was hoping for hear ye.
Themselves for the record.
Immediately to sidebar instead.
Versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record?
I just want the hear ye's.
Lally for the Commonwealth. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the Commonwealth.
Morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little.
Good morning, Ms. Little.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Yannetti for Karen Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Yannetti. Good morning, jurors.
Same question to the
You
jurors.
are unmuted.
I just want to mention that Attorney Jackson is not here today.
please don't consider that in any way. Certainly don't hold it against Ms. Reed for him not being here. Just don't consider it at all.
I want to know if he flew home to California since they have the week off.
Those 3 questions, were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from?
I don't know where Jackson is. He's not in court today.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively.
All right, let's
Were you
go.
also able to follow the instruction and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case?
Yes.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone
should have sped
happen
her
to
up.
see, hear, or read anything
No,
about this case?
nobody's watching.
Everyone
They
said
don't.
yes.
They don't want
All
to.
right, let's bring Mr. Higgins in, please.
They're exhausted.
And Ms. Giannetti, you'll be taking over?
I will, Your Honor.
Okay.
Bring the jury.
No hear ye's. And if there were hear ye's, I missed them because they were probably before the jury came in. So hear ye, hear ye. The Law Nerd Court is now called to order. All in attendance draw near, and ye shall be heard.
Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
God save the Commonwealth. We're going to hear ye ourselves.
Proceed, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm going to keep Yannetti at normal speed because Yannetti can go
Sir,
fast.
you provided to investigators what you claim were the complete text exchanges between yourself and Karen Reed and
This is what we were just talking about. You provided screenshots. What happened to that extraction?
yourself and John O'Keefe.
I want to
correct?
know.
What I provided was the complete. I let them
My
know
hair
that
is
there was a
bothering
complete
me.
exchange between myself and the defendant, and I said that I may have had other text strings at other times with Mr. O'Keefe.
I'm going to proceed to ask you a series of questions. which
Delightful.
call for a yes or no answer. Can we agree that you'll answer yes or no to those questions?
No. The judge is about to pipe in. I'm going to ask you yes or no questions. Can you please just answer yes or no?
If I can answer yes or no to the best of my ability, I will.
All right, I'm going to keep the questioning very simple, sir. Okay?
Oh,
You
says
did
you.
not provide to investigators any other text messages between you and anyone else.
That's correct.
In September
correct.
of 2022, you were served with a preservation order for your phone.
I
were
can't
you
wait
not?
to hear more about this.
Yes.
After September of 2022, you never received anything in writing that canceled or lifted that preservation order, correct?
That's correct.
He was probably told.
After September of 2022, you made the decision to
bet he was
dispose
told.
of your phone without consulting anybody about the decision to throw out your phone, correct?
Yes.
I realize
Before
that
you
my
threw
name
the
is
phone
blocking
away,
the facts
you
part.
did a factory
All we have on the
reset
shirt
of it.
today is
Did you
fuckery.
not?
No, I did not.
That's
Well,
dumb.
You've previously testified that you testified in another proceeding on June 1st, correct, of 2023?
Yes.
Prior to that June 1st testimony, you met with some people and gave a statement on May 5th.
Here's what I need to know. Here's what I need to know. If nothing is up at y'all, if nothing is going on, why all the butt dials? Why are we in the butt dial trial if there's nothing weird? And why all the missing phones? And why all the weirdness about the missing phones? Why?
2023, did you not?
I did meet with them. I don't
I'm
know if that
moving
was the
this
date.
for those of you that
Okay.
have chat up
It
on the
was
screen.
prior to June, correct?
Yes.
All right. May 5th doesn't sound wildly inaccurate, does it?
No.
And
We love May
when
5th.
you met with those
Yay, May
people
5th.
on or about May 5th, we'll say, or whatever date it was prior to June 1st of 2023, you told them that you did a factory reset of your phone ending in 5421.
Of course he did.
Did you not?
I don't
Of
recall
course
that.
you
No.
did.
I don't recall making that
Of course
statement.
you
don't
did.
recall what you said about the
Of
factory
course you did a
reset
factory reset.
during that.
You're not going to just pull the SIM card out of your phone and cut it and not factory reset your phone. Come on now. Someone who's worried about cutting their SIM card is not just not factory resetting their phone. Stop it right now.
Interview, we'll call it.
Stop it.
In May of 2023, correct?
That's correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Like, I just don't believe that at all.
Directing your attention to the first highlighted line there, sir.
Why don't you give him a second?
If you read that silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
Oh, yeah, he tossed his phone. He's like, oh, I threw it in the trash. Sir, really? Who just throws a phone away? I mean, at least e-waste. Or, like, even if your phone can just be recycled, if it's an iPhone, Apple will take it. Even if it's old AF and you're not going to get any money for it, Apple will still take it and recycle it for you. Like, I don't believe you at all that you just took out the SIM card, cut it, and threw away your phone. Stop it. Just stop. We're reading all day.
About telling those.
Also, I like Yannetti's
document, sir. Does
questioning
that
quite a
refresh
lot. I
your
know you
memory
guys do
about
too.
telling those people in May of 2023 that you did do a
At
factory
the
reset
federal
of your
grand
phone?
jury.
That's not accurate. I did not tell them that.
What did
and I
you
also
say?
didn't tell them that I saved texts with my father.
What?
All right, so your testimony is that they got it wrong, correct?
Why is your dad
My
getting brought into
testimony
this?
is I didn't make those statements.
Your testimony is that they got it wrong, yes or no?
Objection.
Sustained.
He is saying that those were questions posed of him, not statements he made. I'm curious as to whether those were statements made to him that are different.
Well, in any case, you took the SIM card out of your phone, correct?
No, what I testified to was that it's,
Did you take the SIM card out of your phone, yes or no?
I don't know.
We're all good, Brooke.
Did you
Thank you. I love
testify
Ryan Hall, y'all. He
That that's
does
what
such
you
incredible
do
work.
when you get rid of phones, sir.
What I said was that might have been the extent of it if I was to have done that.
And you either cut
If I
up the
did
SIM
it, this is
card
how.
or ripped it up, correct?
How do you
I
rip
believe
a
what I
SIM card?
testified to was
I'm not
I would
asking
have,
you what you testified to. I'm asking you today, did you either cut up the SIM card or rip
Sir,
it
do
up?
you remember?
cut it up or broke it.
And you
But
will agree with me
You didn't factory reset
that
it? Come on
cutting
now.
up or breaking the SIM card destroys the SIM card, does it not?
It does. That's the
The card
point.
itself, yes.
That would have been the purpose in terms of cutting it up or ripping it up, to destroy it, correct?
Well, so nobody else could use the phone.
Well, that was my next question.
Or find
In another phone.
But the purpose of cutting up or ripping up or the SIM card is to destroy the SIM card, is it not?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
And you wanted to make sure that somebody couldn't put that SIM card in their phone and potentially access your data, correct?
I mean, data's not really
No, that
stored
wouldn't
on
be the
SIM
reason why.
cards.
Okay. Well,
I love all the love for Ryan Hall, y'all in the chat, you guys.
we
I
already
love it.
talked about the fact that you testified under oath
Look,
on June
professionals finding
1st
another
of
way to do their work.
2023, correct?
It's kind of my jam.
Yes.
And you were under oath when you were testifying on June 1st of 2023, correct?
Yes.
You swore to tell the truth.
Yes.
You raised your right hand.
That's correct.
And June of 2023.
Who just
June
said
1st of
Yannetti has
2023
disappointed
was
dad
about
voice?
A year ago,
Ultimate
correct?
death.
Yes.
It was about a year closer to your throwing your phone away, correct?
Yes.
And in that testimony that you gave in June 1st of 2023, did you say the
Federal
following?
grand jury.
Quote, I made sure that somebody could.
Wait, he testified at the grand jury. If I'm interpreting this correctly, he testified in May and then again in June. And we know the grand jury went about that long, so it sounds like they called him back and had more questions. Interesting.
couldn't put it in their phone.
Yes, I did say that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Somebody couldn't put it in their phone, but also not only could somebody not put it in their phone,
by
but
either cutting up
it makes
or
it harder to
ripping up
find your
SIM
phone.
card, you also knew that that SIM card couldn't be put back in your phone either, correct?
Yeah, I believe that would be correct.
And you'll agree with me that you took that destroyed SIM card and put it in a trash bag, did you not?
I believe it went in a trash bag, yes.
Well, you used a passive voice. It went in a trash bag. Did it fly out of your hand unexpectedly into a trash bag, sir?
No, sir. It would have been disposed of with the phone.
No, I understand. But are you reluctant to say that you put it in a trash bag, sir?
Objection.
Can you answer that? Are you reluctant to say that?
No, Your Honor, I put it in a trash bag.
Then why? Then why all the fuckery?
Oh, with my
And
trash.
then you also took your phone, now without the SIM card, and you put that in the trash bag too, did you not?
Yes, sir.
Then you drove to a military base and you
What?
threw both the destroyed SIM card and the phone into a dumpster, did you not?
What?
Well, I was cutting through the base, and I believe how I
Did you
testified
drive to
was
a military base, sir?
I was cutting through a base. Yes.
Did you drive to it?
Yes, sir.
And then you put
I was cutting through a military base. Sir, with your trash in your car, you just put your, sir, I know that sometimes out in the country you have to drive your own trash to the dump. But I don't think on the Cape or between where you're going and the Cape that's the situation here. So you put it in a trash bag with your trash. You put all your trash in the car, and then you happen to be cutting through a military base and go, oh yes, this is where I will dispose of my trash.
both the destroyed SIM card
Who was going through
and
your trash that you were worried
phone
about?
itself, which were in a trash bag, into a dumpster on that military base. Did you
You
not?
were worried
I
people were
believe
going
that's
through
what
your
I
trash.
did. Yes.
And as you were driving away, you knew that that destroyed
He didn't want people getting into his trash. This is my speculation. I am speculating. He knows damn well law enforcement can get to his trash. He knows absolutely they can. But here's the thing. Why didn't you talk to Brian Albert and trade your phone in? It would be gone. Take the SIM card out, trade it in. But he absolutely denied dumping it. The thing is, Alan Jackson said, and you dumped them in separate dumpsters on this military base. That part might not be true.
SIM card and the phone would be gone forever, correct?
Yes, I threw it away.
And before you drove away, you did not transfer anything from your old phone to the new phone, correct?
That's correct.
You lost all of your photos on that phone, did you not?
Whatever photos I had on there, I did, yes.
You lost all your videos on that phone, did you
No
not?
backup.
To the extent if I had any.
You lost all of your other text messages besides the ones that you had with Karen Reed and John O'Keefe, correct?
That's correct.
And you knew that you did have text
Just
messages
started
on that old phone
completely fresh.
with Kevin Albert.
He's a friend, most likely.
You also had text messages on your phone with Nicole Albert.
Most likely, yes.
And you had text messages on your phone with Brian Albert.
Yes.
Why, Higgins?
It was important to you that no one see those text exchanges that you had with those three members of the Albert family.
Objection.
I'll let him have it.
No, sir, that's not true.
You took no steps to preserve those text messages, did you?
That's correct.
You did.
Sir, there is a chat of 18,000 people and growing. I hate to speak for you, but most of us hate this. We want to restore our phones. We want our old shit on our new phones. Even if we don't do a full restore from backup, we still will restore our messages and our photos from backup. Sir, you just throw your phone away and you back up nothing. Did you change your name? Do you have the same social security number? Are you trying to wipe your existence off of the face of the planet? What are you doing? Because no one does this way. This is not how people do things. Your butt did not dial. 22 seconds is plenty of time for a conversation. And you don't just rehome your phone to a military base because you know people can't get into the trash there, even if they get into the trash outside your house. I think Brian Albert's plan of giving it back to AT&T or whatever makes more sense, because then the phone's gone, but nobody else can get to it and it's wiped. He's like, no, I didn't wipe my phone, but I threw it away at a military base. Sir, what?
Not ask your friend Matt
Come
Couch,
on.
the
Come
agent,
on.
to help you extract those text messages, did
Some
you?
of us were born at night,
That's
sir.
correct.
And when you went to that machine,
It was not last night,
you did not
however.
extract them yourself, did you?
He walked me through it. I did do the extraction.
You did not extract the 3 strands of text messages with Nicole Albert, Kevin Albert, and Brian Albert to preserve from that machine, did you not?
No.
No, I did not extract those.
So the only place you knew they existed was on your old phone, correct?
That you
Yes, that's
yeeted.
correct.
The one you
same
yeeted
phone
into the
that
sun.
you put into a dumpster on a military base with a SIM card removed from the phone and destroyed, correct?
Well, I did throw the SIM card and the phone on the military base.
Right, and the SIM card was destroyed. You've already testified to that.
I said to the extent of if I did that, I would have done that.
And
What?
we're talking about the actual
If I did that, I would have done that. What? You sound like fighting with a 7-year-old, sir. What?
phone that would have had your text messages, again, with
If I
Brian,
did that, I
Nicole,
would
and
have
Kevin
done
Albert,
that.
correct?
Yes, because the motion was denied.
Well, you've already testified, sir, earlier that you never received anything in writing that either canceled or lifted
He was
the initial
told, Yannetti.
preservation order, correct?
That is correct.
He was told, Yannetti, don't parse words on this.
You
Yannetti,
knew.
the behavior is sus enough.
When
You
were
don't need to
throwing
parse
that
words on that.
phone and the destroyed SIM card in the dumpster, that from that day forward, no one would ever be able to access the content of what you and Brian Albert had discussed by text messages on your old phone.
Accurate.
Correct?
Anybody.
I have nothing further.
Oh, that was faster than I expected.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That was much faster than I expected. For all of you asking why throw it in the trash on a base, because law enforcement can't just go onto the base and get it. And I think he was also probably worried about people in the community going through his trash. I think he was probably worried about more than just maybe law enforcement getting to his trash. So he put it in the trash in a place where people can't just get to the trash. All right. Redirect. This is going faster than I thought this morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
If I could take you back just for a moment to January 29th, early in the morning, you're pulling away from the Albert home, correct?
Yes.
And you had the plow down on the front of your Jeep Wrangler, is that correct?
Initially, it was still on the ground. Yes.
And about how long distance, again, was that on the ground before you pulled that up?
Maybe a foot.
And with relation to the curb, specifically in front of the area with the flagpole and the fire hydrant, how close to the curb were you when you were pulling away from the Albert house?
I believe I looked both ways. There was no vehicles coming in either direction. I pulled out into traffic, and because that's a one-lane road, if there's no other vehicles, I'd be more to the center of that road.
Now, maybe a silly question, but with reference to the front of your Jeep Wrangler, that didn't have any red plastic pieces or anything like that on the front of it, correct?
At what time? At what point?
At any time.
No.
At any time.
And that's the same Jeep Wrangler that you then drove to the Canton Police Station immediately after?
Directly from there, yes.
And then you drove that same Jeep Wrangler back to your home in West Roxbury?
Yes.
They're
And then you
trying
drove
to
that
cut
same
off any
Jeep Wrangler
argument
back to
that
Fairview Road the fall later on that
he
morning?
hit her
Yes.
car.
And then you drove that same Jeep Wrangler from Fairview Road to the Canton Police Station again later that morning, correct?
Yes.
Now, the text communications between yourself and Ms. Reed, again, who initiated those?
The
Oh,
defendant
shit,
did.
And that was on January 12th,
He sounds
2022,
so
correct?
mad.
About 8:23 in the evening, I believe.
So why are you yelling?
Now, with
not
reference
gonna make it better.
to that, what she claimed happened in Aruba, that was something that she mentioned to you via text, correct?
The incident itself, I believe, was through text, but I believe the actual location was when she had stopped by my place in West Roxbury.
But so
You were
that's to my point. So,
texting
sir,
while
with
she was at
regards
your
to the incident
house?
itself, she referenced that both via text and in person to you as well.
Yes, that's correct.
And the kiss that she planted on you in the garage at Mr. O'Keefe's house, that was again something that she mentioned both in text and verbally in person. Is that correct?
He never
Yes,
said it was
that's
in
correct.
the garage.
Now, as far as the ghosting that you were asked questions about last Friday, there were some text messages between you and the defendant on January 19th, correct?
What was the date? I'm sorry.
January 19th.
19th?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you recall if there were any text messages between you going either way, between yourself and the defendant between January 19th and January 23rd?
I think there were, not 100%.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Are there texts that we haven't seen yet? Is that what you're getting at? Because if there are, I'm certainly curious why we didn't just see them all. But the ghosting reference is funny. He's identifying.
Your attention.
Do you see that stack of texts? Look at how massive that stack of papers is.
Specifically the back page, but a little bit before that.
It's a lot of
Let me know
pages.
whether or not there's any text messages between yourself and the defendant, Ms. Reed, between January 19th and January 23rd.
I'm speeding this up. Any text between January 19th and January 23rd is what he's
Yes.
after.
Looks like the 19th and the 23rd, both text messages.
But in between those dates, what I'm asking about is January 20th, January 21st, January 22nd. There's no text messages on any of those dates, correct?
I don't see any.
And then as far as between January 23rd and January 28th, January 28th is when you texted her while you were both within the waterfall, correct?
On the 28th, yes.
So between the 23rd and the 28th, so on January 24th, January 25th, January 26th, January 27th, you didn't send any text messages to her, you didn't receive any from her, correct?
I don't believe so, no.
Lally, are you litigating whether or not he was ghosted or whether he stopped texting her? Okay, Muffin.
And then beyond that one text message that you testified to on the 28th, the next text message you received from the defendant was in regard to John being dead on the 29th, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, you asked some questions about these text messages and whether or not you discussed them with various people. Did you discuss those text messages with anyone?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Why not, sir?
To be honest with you, I mean, on a personal level, I kind of keep things to myself. I was a little embarrassed. Wasn't really proud of him. Kind of maybe didn't show me in a good light with respects that I was John's friend.
And so with regard to that text on January 28th that you had sent her in the waterfall, she didn't respond as she was in the waterfall.
I'm not
with her
surprised he
boyfriend,
was
Mr. O'Keefe,
embarrassed.
correct?
At least he's
That's correct.
aware enough to admit that he was embarrassed.
Now, if the defendant did not have a boyfriend, wasn't dating Mr. O'Keefe, would you have been interested in pursuing?
Are you not
with the
embarrassed?
defendant?
I can't say. I don't know.
What, if any, reservations would you have based on the conversations that you had?
What?
Just everything was so out of left field. I just found it hard to believe.
I don't think she really likes me, Higgins. No, he's
With reference
Higgins.
to
Lally.
going to the Canton Police Station after Fairview Road and moving the vehicles around, which is closer to the Canton Police Station? Your home in West Roxbury or the home on Fairview Road?
The home on Fairview Road would be.
And with the impending weather, why was it that you went to the Canton Police Station to move the vehicles around on that?
Lally, this was
Because as I stated before, if I didn't do it then,
Lally. We've stopped caring about the weirdness of him moving cars around. The phone being rehomed, Lally.
I would have had to come back in the morning. And
The
I knew the
phone.
weather was going to be getting worse. I knew that I had a long day. I had been in
No one's
New York.
listening to
I had been out
this.
the night before in New York, and
We want
I just thought
to
it was best to
hear
get him moved at that point.
about the phone.
Now, you were asked some questions on Friday about a
He could have started with the
call
phone
or
and worked
something in a call
backwards
log,
in time.
From about 2 o'clock or 2:22 in the morning of January 29th. Do you recall that?
I
I
recall
do.
the questions, yes.
And you have an iPhone, or you had an iPhone, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when you make a call on an iPhone, as you sort of place that call, you hit the button, there's sort of a timer that comes up and it starts counting off seconds as the call is being connected, correct?
I believe so.
I'll allow it.
And so seconds are ticking off while the call is being connected, correct?
I believe so,
And
yes.
if a call is connected, then it starts ringing. Unless someone picks up immediately, there are further seconds that are ticking off on an iPhone while that call is ringing through, correct?
I don't know
believe
if
so.
that's accurate.
The objection sustained is to the phone.
I don't know if this is an accurate representation of the
You
text,
were asked
Lally.
some questions about a call or a call back between yourself and Brian Albert around that time frame. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you were trying to explain sort of what your answers were in that prior proceeding in reference to the question.
Yes.
What, if anything else, did you want to explain to the jury in regard to that?
Objection.
In
Yeah,
that form.
that's vague as fuck.
You were asked some specific points as far as your testimony in the prior proceeding, correct?
Yes.
What, if anything else, did you say in reference to that in the prior proceeding?
Objection.
Sustained is to the phone.
Still vague. Lally, ask better questions.
Did you ever speak with Ryan Albert at 2:22 in the morning on January 29th?
No, I did not.
Do you recall making a call or receiving a call from Ryan Albert around that time?
No, I do not.
You were asked some questions on Friday regarding key card access within the Canton Police Station, correct?
Oh,
Yes.
he just
Now,
let
as
it
far
go.
as that
Lally just
door
didn't
that
even
you
circle
utilized,
back.
You would testified on Friday that you would sort of park down towards the back and then come in through the Sallyport area. Is that correct?
He was
So
cut
I
through.
believe I was referring to one of the two Sallyport doors.
And that was sort of your cut through in order to get to your office.
Yes.
Now, with reference to that particular area, as far as going in and out from the parking lot of the Sallyport, does the key card, you have to swipe the key card in order to go in and to go out?
So sometimes if you're close to the door, maybe having a conversation with somebody, it could activate the key card itself. But physically, if I'm going into the door, I would take it out and I would swipe it. I would hold it to the card reader. Some are more sensitive than others is what I'm trying to say.
And similar to when you're going in, when you're going out,
Is Lally trying to get to a butt swipe? Like, what if you just walked past it? Would it read your card as opposed to taking it out and swiping it?
does that require sort of swiping or using the key card in order to go outside?
So there are some doors that you need to swipe out of, and I believe the booking room and the Sallyport itself are doors such as those.
May I approach?
Yes.
You guys knew a butt swipe was coming.
I'll show you a document I've placed on for you. If you could just take a look at that and look up when you're finished.
That's a stack of swipes.
Yes.
Is that the same document that was essentially the same document
Stack
that
of
was placed on
swipes.
Friday?
Yes.
And that's a 167-page document encapsulating different key swipes within the Canton Police Station on January 29, 2022, correct?
Yes.
And from those 167 pages, at least on that first page, does there appear to be about 27 entries there?
Yes.
And so from 27 entries over a course of 167 pages, that'd be
Oh.
somewhere north of 4,500 entries.
AH
within
in the
those
chat said swipe or no swiping.
right?
Flawless.
Well, I went to public high school, but I'll take your word for it.
Would it surprise you that there are 18
Nobody's here for your math jokes anymore, sir. We want to know more about your phone.
entries within those 4,500?
So not what would surprise him. Ask the question differently, Mr. Mallory.
You know that there are 18 entries that contain your name within those records? Objection. Formal question.
No, I'll allow that.
Are you asking me if in the 167 pages, there's only 18 entries with me?
Yes.
I did not know that, no.
Would that surprise you as far as your, well, let me rephrase that for a minute. Now, with respect to your travels around Canton Police Station on that particular day, would you quarrel with 18 entries as far as where you went and what you did in Canton PD that day?
No, in and out.
Good
Nope.
morning, Matt Bond. Boop the floofs for me. Good morning, Tinsley. Thank you. It's the
Now,
it's
sir,
the
with
natural light.
respect to,
Shelly
phone.
Kelly, happy birthday.
you were provided notification.
Don Morris,
in
happy
regard to
birthday.
a preservation order in regard to your phone sometime in September of 2022, correct?
I received a subpoena on September 30th, 2022.
And that was in regard to a hearing at which counsel for the defendant was seeking
And
your
the day
physical
before,
phone,
you
as that was correct.
magically got
Yes.
rid of your
And
phone.
is it your understanding, or were you informed after that date, sometime in early October of
Calls for hearsay.
2022, that that motion had been denied?
So I believe it was October 21st of that year, I was made aware that that was denied on actually October 5th.
Are you aware of a 30-day period by which a defendant has to file some sort of notice of appeal of a motion? Objection.
I'll allow that.
That calls for legal
I
conclusion.
know typically there's appeal periods. In this particular sense, I wasn't familiar with the preservation order itself. What a preservation order was with respects to, that was kind of all new to me. Usually in an investigation that I'm conducting, it's a search warrant, I take the phone. I don't ask people to preserve it through a court order, if that makes sense.
That does
So
make
when
sense.
was it that you
but
disposed of your phone?
It would have been, it was about 2 months after that
And why was it that you disposed of your phone?
because it was beaten, it was broken up, and I had already had a new phone. And only explanation is I threw it away. That's it.
only explanation is
Now,
what
beyond
happened.
sort of this case,
We're
what
not
if you don't-
asking. We're not asking for an explanation. He's asking what happened. Only explanation is
Was going on with reference to your personal
not.
phone that led you to want to get rid of it.
So in July of 2022, I had a target of an investigation I was working who alleged that he called me on my personal cell phone. And when I questioned him as to the fact how he obtained my personal telephone number, he told me that his girlfriend had obtained it off of open source internet, which I later confirmed that number was out there.
What, if any, concerns did that raise for you, sir?
Well, I had a lot of concerns. And so July of 22 is when I probably started thinking about, you know what, I got to get rid of the telephone number itself.
And a lot of the work that you were doing, at least at that time, was undercover work. Is that correct?
Before this case right here, yes.
Now, as far as the SIM card that you're talking about,
The problem is the explanation, that explanation makes sense, but the timing doesn't make sense. Like, the timing doesn't make sense. The day someone called you on your personal cell is the day you change that number, sir. Are you joking? No, he changed his cell number. So he changed his cell number, his carrier, everything.
have any specific memory of doing anything with that SIM card?
No, and that's how I testified in that other hearing, that to the extent of what I would have done is I would have cut it up or broke it. And the concern would be that to my understanding, that's not holding any photos, that's not holding videos, that's not holding my contacts. It's holding phone information itself.
Correct. Making it harder to find your phone.
Or what, if anything, like that, did you even have on?
I didn't have much in the sense that I'm divorced. I don't have kids. I didn't have the typical memories that somebody would have had on their phone that they wanted to preserve. They were more like the text messages with the defendant, where it would be a drink glass at a bar, food, something along those lines. I had more of a connection to my work phone and more of a value to my work phone than I did my personal phone.
Well, sir, that's kind of sad.
Now, as far as that military base down the Cape, how often? Let me ask
That's
you this.
just
When you
that's
lived,
just sad. It's time to make
at
some
the
memories,
residence in Barnstable
sir. I
County,
mean,
what
this
did
is
you do with your trash down there?
gonna be a problem.
Well,
but-
if I was going through and I had trash or some recycling and I was either getting gas on the base or hitting the duty free, I would occasionally toss a bag of trash in one of the dumpsters there. Or if I forgot, I would throw it out when I got back to my other property. And at the time, at one point, I was living in Canton and I had the house there, and then I sold it, and then I had the in-law I was renting, so I had other options to throw things away.
Why are you carrying
Do you
trash
have
between
pickup at your
properties?
residence in Barnstable?
Ew.
No.
So if you were to throw away anything, any sort of trash, it would have to be either at the base or at one of your other homes.
It would be somewhere else.
I don't believe you don't have
And so
trash
with
in
reference,
Barnesville. Come
to
on.
The phone and the SIM
just
card
weird.
you even did you drive specifically to the base to throw your phone away, or were you throwing it away with other trash?
It was just with other trash.
You were shown some call logs or some toll records or something to that effect last Friday with respect to calls that you had made or received around January 29th, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was that anything that you had specifically preserved and given to the troopers, or that was something that someone was able to obtain even without your phone or without your SIM card, correct?
That's correct.
May I approach this retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
One moment, Charles.
Yes.
For those of you asking why is there no court the rest of the week, the court
Sir,
didn't
going
make it
back to
clear, but it was
January
the
29th,
I
pulling
think
away
jury
from
schedule for that one.
Residents on Fairview Road. You didn't see anything on the side of the road, is that correct?
Absolutely not, no.
And what is it that you would have done had you seen anything, or had you seen Mr. O'Keefe on the side of the road on January 29th?
I've spent my whole life between being a firefighter, working in the profession that I work now, being a tactical medic. If I had saw John O'Keefe on the side of the road, I would have done something to make a difference.
No further questions.
Yes. Jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
Feel free to stand up and stretch. We're going to zoom right past this to them continuing to talk. I noticed that the victim's father hasn't been in court as frequently. I believe that's the defendant's father. We're going to zoom as much as we can. But, you know, again, had I seen John O'Keefe on the side of the road, I would have done something to help. I'm putting this back to real time for you, Nettie. He talks much faster than Lally does.
Sir, you testified that a prime motivator of you to get rid of your phone was a July 22nd call from
That's
a
what he
target
said.
of an investigation that you were working on.
I never said it was a prime motivator.
Was it a prime motivator?
No, what I testified to was the phone number was what I was concerned about primarily.
Right.
Didn't have anything to do with the phone.
That's fair.
You did not change your phone number on July 22nd, correct?
July of 2022? Is that what you mean?
The date that you received a call supposedly from a target of an investigation you were working on was July 22nd of which year?
So it was, I believe it was July 25th of 2022.
July
I was so
25th.
concerned that I reported it to my supervisor.
Right, but you did not change your phone number after that for quite a while, correct?
I believe it was September.
Okay. So for those months, you kept the same phone number and kept the same phone, correct?
I did.
And September happened to be the
So this call at the end of July 2022 freaked you out. And then you change your number and your carrier the day before there's a preservation order? Like 2 months later?
month that you received
Okay.
the preservation order from this court, correct?
September 22, yes.
Right.
Just the day before. Just
Now,
the day before.
with regard to the text exchanges that you had with Karen Reed, you testified that you were embarrassed about them.
I
Yep.
wasn't proud of them.
I think your word was embarrassed, correct?
I can agree to that. That's fair.
Well, you already testified to that, right?
Because you said it.
I believe that
Or
might have
5
been
minutes ago?
a word I used, yes.
And
Sir.
you also explained that you would keep things like that to yourself, correct?
That could be something, yes.
That's what you said.
However, you would also agree with me that while they were going on, you told your boss about that text exchange, correct?
Well, I told her about the kiss.
Yep, that's what he said.
Do you deny telling your boss about the texting that you were doing with Karen Reed?
I don't know if I specifically recall that, no.
But you don't deny it, sir, correct?
It's possible that I
The way he testifies has just gotten so weird. I don't know if I specifically recall that. Yes or no, or I don't remember.
told her about that. I'm not going to deny it.
All right. And in any case, those text exchanges were preserved. You preserved those before disposing of your phone, correct?
Correct.
And with regard to the other text exchanges that you did not preserve with the Alberts, including Brian Albert, are you familiar with the term consciousness of guilt, Mr. Higgins?
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained.
I may have a moment.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the term consciousness of guilt?
With regard to, just one more thing. With regard to the date that you changed phone numbers on your phone, you would agree with me that was September 29th of 2022?
When I actually changed the phone number?
That's what I just asked.
Yeah, yes, I also got a new phone. Yes.
Okay. September 29th of 2022, you changed your phone number and got a new phone. And then September 30th, the next day, you were served with the preservation order, correct?
I got the preservation order on the 30th.
Oh
That's
my God,
correct.
just answer the question. You don't need to repeat the
All right,
question.
Mr. Higgins, you are all set, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next
Thank you.
witness. That went faster than I thought. I'm very curious to see who the state calls next.
All right, Mr. Lally, who's your next witness?
May we approach?
Sure.
Christ. For those of you asking where Alan Jackson is, he is not in court today. That was planned. Are they going to take the morning break? What are they doing? I think they're letting the jury out. Hold on. I want to hear what the court says. I zoom only to zoom backwards. We're like not even an hour into the morning.
First, we're going to take a 10-minute recess.
You are unmuted.
A 10-minute
All rise,
break.
court, please.
I'm going to zoom, and then if we still have time, I'll catch us up to...
Follow me.
I wonder what's going on.
Thank you. You may be seated. Close to
All right,
Court's in
so
session.
Mr. Lally, your next witness is a juvenile.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so there's a
Oh.
specific media order that there'll be no transmission of this testimony. And by agreement of the parties, the child witness will be sitting in the courtroom, in the witness stand when the jury comes back in. And that's by agreement, Ms. Gianetti?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so 10 o'clock or so we'll come back out?
Court, all rise.
Okay, so I don't think they're even going to transmit audio of this testimony is what I think. So the next witnesses are going to be the niece and nephew. So I don't know when court will resume for the day. So let's give a little bit of a blurb. We knew the prosecution was going to call the niece and nephew of John O'Keefe, and that testimony will not be transmitted. How long will that take, and will that be the rest of the day? I don't know. So I'm going to answer some questions, and then we will decide how to go forward from there. I think this testimony might take up a good part of the morning because it's going to be the next two witnesses in court. So let me check some of the other feeds and see how they're handling it, just because I'm curious. But that might be all we have this morning. And because I do have stuff going on in the world of like life, I may take my break and then finish the rest of testimony tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll give it a little bit. I imagine that's going to be at least an hour, if not more, of testimony. I'm going to look at Twitter real quick and see if any of the in-court reporters say anything. So that might be what we do. For those of you asking, why are they needed? I don't know. I don't know what the prosecution wants for them. I don't know what testimony they have. We know that with the teen is going to testify, I would imagine, about the morning that Karen Reed woke her up and was asking questions and what have you. I imagine that if the kids witnessed anything between John O'Keefe and Karen Reed, any fights or anything like that, they're going to be asked to testify about that. So that is what it is. Lori said today is a full day. Today is not a full day for me. Today is a full day in court, but today is not a full day for me, which I talked about at the top of the stream. So we have stuff. So today is not going to be a full day for me either way. So I'm going to answer some questions, and I'm going to take a look at some of the reporters covering this, but we might have to just cut it and then go forward. But with the teens that are testifying, here's what I would expect. I'm going to summarize it and answer questions. I would suspect that from the teen daughter who is a high school student or the teen niece that is a high school student, it is going to be what happened that morning, what Karen Reed said, how Karen Reed acted, if the teen saw Karen coming in that night when she said she dropped off John O'Keefe, those sorts of things. I do not know if both the niece and nephew will be called, so we'll see. And then I imagine when we come back next week, because this is the only testimony this week, when court resumes next week, we should be getting into the scientific testimony, but there's only one day of court this week. So that's what we've got. Let's That's what we've got. So I don't know what the rest of today will bring, but because I do have a lot going on, and I do have company in town, what I think I will do is break and cover the rest of the testimony. If they resume with testimony streamed this afternoon, I will cover that tomorrow because that gives us a little bit more time. Cindy asked if the kids will testify about Aruba. They might testify about Aruba as well. The Honorable Tilly Mungo Tudor said, watching while in labor, happy birthday, baby Ren. Well, hope that labor goes smoothly, and welcome and happy birthday, baby Ren. A good day for a birthday. So only one day of court this week. Only one day of court this week. Petty Patty in the chat said, reporters are saying they aren't allowed to live report it, pen and paper notes only. This is wild. I've never heard of that before. Federal courts do that. So a lot of courts do that. I'm not upset about the courts being protective of the juveniles testifying. We will probably not even be back with that. That testimony will probably take an hour or two, I would imagine. But today is the only day of testimony this week. So let's do a quick summary and then let's get to questions, and then we will figure it out. Thank you, Law Nerd Chat, for A, being the best chat on the internet, B, being amazing humans, and C, understanding that life sometimes is busy. Today was going to be a busy day, and now court is like, what we're not doing today. What we're not doing today is streaming. So that'll be fascinating. But at least they made sure that the media knew about the media order, that they're not streaming that testimony. Sometimes they only stream the audio. They're not doing any of it. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to quibble with the court doing that. Luna Zumi said, Emily, did the children need to take the stand? Couldn't they be questioned in better surroundings? How many of you also have this question? And then I promise Magdalena, I'll do a summary. How many of you also have this question? Let's answer it real quick. No, they can't be questioned in better surroundings. Under the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution, the defendant has the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses. And with the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, it means witnesses of any age have to come forward. Friends of mine have been prosecutors for crimes against children, and they will have kids in court who are victims of crime at 7 years old, 8 years old, sometimes younger. So yes, children victims have to testify. Children witnesses have to testify. Is that awful? Yes. Does it happen in domestic violence cases? Yes. But does it happen in car crashes and in other types of cases as well? Yes. Sometimes the young humans witness things and they still have to testify because of the right to confront and cross-examine under the Constitution. So no, there is not a better way to do it. This is the way it is done. Other countries do this differently. Other countries have different constitutions. For witnesses, it is a little different. For victims, it is incredibly difficult. But they saw what they saw, and the prosecutor decided that they are necessary witnesses. And they might want to testify. I don't know how the niece and nephew feel. They might very much want to do this, particularly working in juvenile court. I didn't do crimes against children, so I did not often work with child victims. I did not often work with child witnesses, except for when I worked in juvenile. And when I worked in juvenile, there were victims and witnesses who wanted to testify and felt very strongly about, no, I want to say what I saw. I want to say what happened. I want to say what I know. I want to say what happened to me. And so there are many that feel very, very strongly about having their moment to testify in court. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and we'll see what they know. But they're the ones who are living in the home with John and Karen. So they're going to have more to say than most. So will we get a transcript? No. But the reporters covering the case will likely summarize it later today. So whoever the 4 reporters are in court today, we will see. So let's do a quick summary, shall we? And then we'll zoom. So after maybe 30 minutes, time is a construct, of testimony, Brian Higgins was done on the stand. Yannetti really followed up with him about throwing away his phone, taking out his SIM card and breaking it. If he did that, he said, if I was going to do that, that's what I would have done. It's not even really an answer to anything. And throwing it away on a military base. My speculation is military base trash isn't going to get searched outside your home by law enforcement or members of the public. He said the phone was old, and he said that he wanted to change his number because a target of an investigation had called his personal phone, and he found that his number had essentially gotten out onto the web, his personal cell phone number. He also said he didn't really have memories and pictures. It was actually some of the sadder testimony from this witness. He's like, I'm connected to my work phone, but I don't have like pictures and memories on my personal phone. I'm divorced. I don't have kids. He's like, so it's a lot of, pictures of a glass at a bar. And I'm like, that's just sad. Like, that's just sad. And so that was really the rest of his testimony. Did redirect do much to clear this up? Not really. The prosecutor asked if he ever had pieces of taillight on his snowplow or anything like that. He said that he didn't. He said that if he had seen John O'Keefe, he would have done something. And that's really the end. Nothing tremendously new or groundbreaking from that testimony other than he did in fact throw away his phone on a military base. Look, I don't understand the amount of butt dials in the butt dial trial, the butt dials, the phones that are gotten rid of, though it's clear that this phone was gotten rid of after the order to turn over the phone had been denied. It doesn't make it look much better. Getting the new number the day before the preservation order goes into place doesn't look good. It's not a coincidence to me because both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins got rid of their phones the day before they were ordered to preserve them, or Higgins rid of the phone number but kept the phone for a while. It's just such odd behavior. He didn't back up anything. He's like, the phone is gone, the backup's gone. Brian Albert's like, I traded it in, got a new phone. I don't know what you're talking about. Day before the preservation order, bye. The butt dials, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. Just wild stuff. And then at the end of Brian Higgins' testimony, the prosecution is going to be calling John O'Keefe's brain. John O'Keefe's niece and or nephew and or both. There is a media order that the testimony of both juveniles cannot be streamed. No audio will be streamed. It will not be live transmitted, tweeted, texted. There is pen and paper only. And that is what will be allowed to later be reported from in the courtroom. I am going to go ahead and answer some questions, and then I am going to zoom. I know it's only an hour today, and we're going to cover testimony either later or tomorrow. It just depends on what happens, but we're going to try to be fluid with it. So in a reminder that we're going to try to be fluid with it, mods, I apologize for not having a better plan. We just don't know. And I will keep you in the loop on the Lawnard app. That is where I will tell you what I am doing. I will give you a heads up when I am going to stream. It is my intention to just cover the rest of testimony from today tomorrow, but we will see. Let's get to questions and see what happens because we've got a little time for the day, but I have a lot going on getting ready for CrimeCon, and I have my friend Tracy's in town. So Yannetti is singing, "This is how I remind you that your pants are on fire." Wild stuff. Oh, I didn't even do our FAQ. I got all ahead of myself. So, all right. Thank you, Susie. Very much appreciate it. Mello said, is the room set up judge in the back, then witnesses and reporters, then prosecutor's table behind? Mello, there's been some other streams where I've stopped and we've done this, but the witness stand and the judge are kind of in a line. And then there is like a U shape around the well. And next to the witness stand is the jury box. And then in the back of that is the defendant's family. Then in like an outcropping, there's like a little bar of a few reporters, then the victim's family. And then inside the well, the prosecution is up against the judge. And then the defense table is behind. It is a very, very small courtroom. Roki will read for you, or Rosie will read for you. Put a trash can emoji in the chat. If you throw your phone away, I think everybody's like, no, you don't just throw your phone away. Like at a minimum, it goes to e-waste. But often you just turn that into the carrier. Even if it's broken, they recycle it for you. Like, what? Nedmatch said, boy, oh boy, the big 24 morning all. Member for 24 months. Congratulations. Casey Cat, good morning. Good to see you. Is Higgins going to write a book like OJ? If I did it, like if I did it, that's how I would have done it with the breaking the SIM card. So wild. Tansy said the writer loves to call out the passive voice. Yannetti was pretty funny on the passive voice, wasn't he? Christina said, you use the passive voice. Oh my God, PTSD from college writing professor. He definitely did use the passive voice. Yannetti, I like Yannetti's questioning style. I know a lot of you like Alan Jackson. I'm sure there's some of you, because brains are diverse and so are humans. I'm sure there's some of you that are like, no, Lolly's my jam. I don't know if you're in this chat, but I'm sure there are some somewhere that are like, no, Lolly's my jam. Totally my jam. But I like Yannetti's style. I like the ramp up on a cross. I really do. I like the, I'm not trying to trick you. It's just a yes or no question. Because then when the witnesses are being evasive, they're more evasive. Like you can see it. But when the witnesses are being earnest, you can also see that very clearly. They're like, no, yes, no, this, yes, this. It's very clear, the different testimonies and the different cross-examinations. And then Yannetti ramps it up to the boiling. And sometimes the witnesses don't realize they're still in the pot. Sometimes they do. Alan Jackson is snarkier. He goes in stronger. It starts out at a 10. It continues at a 10. Yannetti, I like Yannetti's style of ramping up. I really do. But there's a lot to be said for the snark of Alan Jackson. And as someone who talks very fast, I don't think that's just a Los Angeles thing, but as somebody who talks very fast, Alan Jackson's questioning moves at the pace of my brain. I'm sure court reporters constantly tell him to slow down. Casey said he's also just cutting through the Sally Port at Canton PD. Yeah, Higgins has more cut throughs than anyone I know, except maybe a quilter. Tamara said people just don't do this. No one does. About the just throwing a phone away in a trash bag. Yeah. Brian is now wishing he got the dumpster with the SIM card. I mean, anyone else think he tossed it on federal property to make it harder for the state to recover? Or anyone? Mighty Wombat, I agree. Or anyone to recover. My idea said chat calls shenanigans. Everyone calls shenanigans on that testimony. It's so wild. Carrie Kestner said, I'm so lost. It's all entertaining tea, but I don't get how this proves any of the charges. Oh, we're very deep in the soap opera lore of Canton, except a few bits that seem to show Karen Reed's innocent. Carrie, we still don't know how the victim died. It's week 4. No, 5. It's week 5. Today's week 5. On day 18. And we don't know. So I don't know. Are we going to get there? I don't know. What does the state have left to show? Scientific evidence, I imagine. Jen says, I think he has motive and my gut is screaming at him. There's a lot. Look, I don't know if what the state is going to show is going to overcome the suspect behavior of everybody else. Again, the jury doesn't have to find, as the defense said in opening, a cover-up. The jury doesn't have to find that Karen Reed was framed. The jury has to find that there is doubt. That's all they have to decide. And the behavior of many of those involved is suspect. It's odd behavior. I don't know if that's because there is a cover-up. I don't know what they did. I want to see more evidence, and I want to see what happened to the victim. And I have no speculation until we hear from the ME on that. I have a lot of questions, and I want to hear from the medical examiner and a pathologist, or if they're one and the same, fine. But the jury doesn't have to find that. And the thing is, the defense might have, and there might have been, this is, Emily, you're speculating. This case has received a lot of attention. These witnesses have received a lot of attention, not all of them. I hope that we're giving the kind of attention that the Kolokithises need, that we just love them. But the defense may have turned the heat on so much in their filings, in their court appearances, in what they're doing, that these witnesses testify as so defensive because they're actually defensive because of everything else going on. But the jury doesn't know that. The jury's heard about the harassment, but the behavior might be defensive for multiple reasons. It could be. And if that's the long game on the defense, it might work for them that the jury's like, look, the state presented XYZ, but also all of this. And so doubt. It's possible. We're definitely not done with the state's case yet. How we're not done with the state's case is wild to me. I mean, we're on a second-degree murder case. I've seen multiple homicide trials tried and way less of the time and way fewer witnesses. I don't know. Even some of the biggest cases I've seen, I don't know if we see 40, we're on 43 witnesses. 44 and 45 will be the niece and nephew, which should be the end of the state's civilians, I would imagine. And then we're going to get into the rest of the world. But in all the scientific stuff, it's just absolutely bananas. And you've got evidence in red Solo cups. We're weeks away from evidence in red Solo cups. But the state needs more. And they have not brought that yet. They're not done yet, but the state needs more. And we're not there. I'm trying to be patient. But it's day 18. So when is it? And where is it? And what is it? And for those of you saying, don't forget Proctor, I don't know if they're going to call Proctor. I imagine the jurors are tired. Tiny Kitsune has said, you can use base to pass through, but depending on the ID, they don't always work. They don't always ask why you're there. Did it all the time on Hawaii. Not that strange to me. And he talked about cutting through. He's former military and he's law enforcement, but it's interesting that it's, we just take the trash and drop it off on the way. Hell hath no fury like a Higgins scorned. He just seems kind of sad. Like he just seems sad. Right? Some of you in the chat are saying there's no way the state's calling Michael Proctor. They might not. And if they don't, the defense will call him. If the state doesn't. How does that look if you're a juror and the lead investigator doesn't get called and the defense's theory of the case is that this investigation was setting up the defendant and then the prosecution doesn't call the lead investigator? Even if you're sitting there going, I don't know if they did what the defense is saying or not, but I don't know that they didn't. Katrina, good to see you, said, come on, Dobie's puppy, my fur child, photos when I dropped my phone in the water. I lost Dobie's puppy photos when I dropped my phone in the water and I was so mad. Come on, that's not normal. Oh yeah, gutted. I would have been gutted. Everything's backed up. Cumulus Cloud said, his prehensile sphincter could have gone fishing and accidentally dropped it, but he didn't choose to do that. Everyone apparently has a very talented ass in this case. Lots of butt dials. Butts are talking to each other. Like, Canton needs its own version of Baby Got Back with the amount of phone calls these butts are making. Melanie Webb said, listen, Linda. Listen. Yeah, listen, Linda. Nobody throws their phone away like that. Carrie said code red for the evasiveness, the demeanor on Cross. Alyssa said, anyone else noticing a theme with him when it comes to cutting through places in regards to very important moments in the case? First, it was the Sally Port when the vehicle arrived. Now it's the military base with the trash. Yes, lots of convenient cutting through. But if it's all a coincidence, right? It can't all be a coincidence. One thing maybe, but not all of it. I just need to see, the scientific data. And then I will let you know how I feel. But how do they think she hit him with a car? And how did that injure him? And how did that injure him enough to die? And what caused him to die? So many more questions. Melanie Webb said, I think Karen Reed just needed someone to talk to for an ego boost. I definitely think there was a goal of reminding John that that's not where she had to be. Zoe said, interviewing with U.S. attorneys today. Wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Kelly, thank you so much. Christina said, Lolly just proved his client was ghosted. Why do it over again? I don't know. I think Lolly was like, but you stopped texting too, right? Madison L. Morgan said, I knew I'd have to come back in the morning, but you went in the morning anyway and multiple times on your day off. I think he wasn't intending to go back in the morning until he got the call about John O'Keefe. Jake B said, in my opinion, Lolly has forgotten the point he is supposed to be proving. The defense has him flustered. The defense seems to have Lolly chasing his own tail and not prosecuting the case. And I've said this to y'all. I've said this in private conversations I've had about the case. And I say this about prosecutors. You can't try to disprove the defense case. You have to try your case. The defense is going to do what the defense is going to do, but you have to prove your case. And then you deal with what the defense does on rebuttal. But if you prove your case strong, it's not going to really matter what the defense does. You get to go first as the prosecution. If you prove your case well, everybody's sitting there looking at the defense going, what do you have to say? You know, when you have a strong case, and strong cases can be circumstantial, when you have a strong case, you prove your case. The defense does whatever, and then you rebut it. Or you look at the jurors because the defense is doing whatever, and the jurors are sitting there going, really? You expect me to believe that? Seriously. But that's what's happening with the prosecution's witness in this case. The prosecution's witnesses are testifying, and we're all sitting there going, seriously? What? That doesn't make sense. And that is not great. I saw somebody ask if I've ever gone against defense attorneys this good. I've gone against some great defense attorneys. Absolutely have. But I've never gone to trial on a case like this. This is something. Melanie Webb said, must be something in the water in Canton. A lot of, I don't recall. A lot of mystery butt dials. It's an epidemic of butt dials. Angela, good to see you, said, watching a bit behind. He lost his dad in 2020. My dad passed last January from cancer. No way in hell would I trash my phone and lose pictures and videos of my dad. He extracted things about his dad, I'm sure. That is an excellent point, Angela. And it had not stuck out in my mind nearly as much. Not only did he lose his dad, but he also lost his sister. And talked about losing his sister and changing working locations for losing his sister, but not really being tied to his personal phone. Angela, you make an excellent, excellent point. I need a coffee mug that says, okay, Muffin. We have been talking about that at Team Baker. Love starting my day and week with you. Love that. Members, we're going to be doing a lot more behind the scenes this week. There's a lot going on this week in Nashville. We're going to be doing a lot of that in our members' spaces. So for the members, make sure you have the app. Spending surgery recover, Seashell recover well. I feel it's been feeling a lot like the CW is trying to prove reason. Oh, the Commonwealth. I keep saying the CW and thinking the TV network. The Commonwealth is trying to prove reasonable doubt for their witnesses' involvement rather than Karen's guilt. That's not going to help them in the long run. But there are times it feels that way. It feels like they are chasing the defense theory, not proving their case. Somebody said new Bravo show butt dials of Canton. I'm sure there will be all of the Netflix and whatever specials. So, let's see. Danny, what if any do you do to Chloe justice for Chloe? I don't know if anyone asked him about Chloe, and I don't know if there was need to. Willingly bricking your phone and losing all your photos, totally normal, not sus at all. Are you doing a meetup with Runkle at CrimeCon? Yes, I am meeting up with Runkle at CrimeCon. We are doing a Law Nerd meetup. I'm going to put all the info in the app for the Law Nerd meetup. It's going to be at the Opry, but that will all that info on the Law Nerd meetup will be in the Law Nerd app. So it will be in there. And we will send that out today, and then we will keep updating reminders to that if you happen to be in the Nashville area, or if you're coming into town for CrimeCon, that will all be in the Law Nerd app. Where is the report to ATF that says my personal number has been compromised? He said he reported it. So he said he reported it. He might well have. Cumulus Cod said, I've done a lot of undercover work, and this explanation is bukkake. I hated my work phone and was more concerned with my personal phone. It's a weird answer. It's a weird answer for sure. Becca said Brian Albert was aware of the preservation order, though. Are we to believe he never called and told you about it, Higgins? I call bullshit. Oh, Higgins knew it was coming. Those were public hearings. There were public hearings leading up to the orders. They absolutely knew that those preservation orders were coming. Notice the prosecution didn't ask at all. Shane, good to see you. Get a bidet and you won't have to butt swipe so much. I have a bidet. I actually have a Tushy. I have 2 of them, and they are lovely. Tushy, we need to sponsor a stream. Butt dials, calls, swipes, and arses are communicating everywhere, says Kelly. Christina said at this point, I don't remember Karen Reed exists until the camera pans to her. First, it was the case of defending Brian Albert, now defending Brian Higgins. Butt dials, butt swipes, butt movements. It's wild, isn't it? So we are going to see what happens. Samantha S. said, I keep thinking about the great tech expert from Depp v. Heard that said people don't throw out their phones. So many rehomings. Lena on me said, is it typical for a prosecutor to help clean up witness reputation testimony? There is always a redirect where you give the witness an opportunity to explain, but it's a lot in this case. There are a lot of witnesses who have done stuff that is challenging for the prosecution's case. Allison, thank you for the gifted memberships. And I think I just saw 20 gifted memberships in the chat as well. So Melanie, thank you for the 20 gifted memberships and welcome to all the new members. Knit Pearl Girl said, if I was a juror, I'd be half listening to all this redirect. I'd be on edge waiting for the stuff about the phone. I'm surprised because a lot of prosecutors will start with they'll start redirect with the end of cross and address that and then go back to the beginning because that's what the jury's thinking about at the moment. Lally starts at the beginning of cross and then works forward instead of working backwards, and it confuses me too. Casey said, I would question my best friend about disposing of her phone this way. Why would anyone believe this guy? I don't know. Karen said hi to Mr. Jackson in case he's watching here today. I doubt that he is. Chef Spawn said, Boston born, and I always enjoy your streams and your fresh thoughts and comments. Well, thank you. Some days they are a bit snarkier and sassier than others. Eating dirty dough with my coffee court, dirty dough greater than crumble. For those of you who followed the cookie wars did resolve, but dirty dough is more Arizona local. I think they're also in Utah, but more Arizona local. The Honorable Tilly Mungo Tudor said, watching, well, labor, welcome baby Ren. 2 welcomes because it came back up. Runkle's offered to babysit us. Well, mom is lifing. I don't know what anyone's going to do with these streams today. If they're going to stay streaming or resume stream, I don't know what people are going to do. This is going to be a couple hours. I imagine court won't resume till after lunch for a stream. I heard Lally say last week after Higgins, he only had 2 witnesses. There's no way he's resting after the kids. No, but he might not have the scientific evidence till next week. Because he's got to do cell phone experts and the pathologist and stuff. So he might have only had 2 more witnesses for today. That could be a scheduling issue. Today might end up being a short day. My Fairview lady said, will you be at CrimeCon this weekend? I will be, and we will be doing like an informal gathering where it's like, hey, well, I'll be in this space, come hang out. And that'll be in the app. That'll be May 31st in the early evening. Julie said, how did he die? We don't know yet. It's not in evidence. We know that hypothermia was a factor. That's all we know. Will you do a summary of the summary from the reporters in the courtroom? Yes, but probably not today. 18 days, and I know a lot about the Albert family and now, but not how Karen hit him with her car. Right. Isn't it frustrating? Yulin said best fucking lawyer EDB and best fucking commentary. Well, thank you. I don't know about either of those things, but I think we do have the best community. There are lots of smart lawyers, and I love seeing how everybody looks at things because we all have our own work experience that we look at it through. But I appreciate it. I like what I get to do. So we're here. Rory Handy said, use this one simple trick to get evidence to a prosecutor. Let law enforcement extract your phone. Or if you want to fight it, fight it. You have a right to fight it. You don't have to turn over your phone. The state can be like, show us your phone. You can be like, nah, get a warrant. Like, that's fine. Don't then. Don't turn over your phone then. Then don't though. But the halvesy stuff, weird. Nikki19 said in past trials I've watched that had juvenile witnesses, they just don't show them on camera. There was still audio. I wonder why we don't have that. If I was the judge in this case, I'd probably be super sensitive about this case. I believe this judge is also dealing with some of the harassment litigation. I can understand the judge being super sensitive. Chris Crafts and Coffee said, why didn't they cross Carrie? My thoughts on that, I think, are in our Quick Bits episodes. I think it was a smart idea. Carrie's testimony came across as quite truthful, and it really countered a lot of points of Jen McCabe's testimony. And it was very clear that she never heard Karen say, I hit him. Carrie's testimony was great. I think it also signals to the jury, when people tell us the truth, there's no point for a vigorous cross-examination. So we're not fighting with them. BT says that the FBI finds evidence of who did this in their hopefully real investigation. Then what? Is their investigation complete since they had the grand jury? Not necessarily. And I don't know if the FBI, this assumes a lot of information, BT, and I'm not saying that in a wrong way. It just assumes that they're investigating what happened to John O'Keefe and not investigating where the investigation went wrong. Those are two different things. Where an investigation went wrong is different than solving something. They might solve something by accident in that case. They might be trying to solve something. We don't know. And no, investigations aren't necessarily done just once there's a grand jury, and an investigative grand jury can come back and ask more questions and they can reconvene. So I don't think they're done. I don't think they're going to be done now that they know this trial's going. I think they're going to watch this. I think this is going to be, I think they're going to watch this trial and the outcome of the trial before they conclude anything. It's just, that's why it's weird the trial went to trial. Carly said, I never turn my phone in. I'm pretty sure I have every phone I've ever owned. That's one way to do it. Have you seen videos of Colin Albert fighting? No, they're not in evidence. Was his testimony important enough to impeach? I think they impeached Colin Albert pretty well, but no, there's no evidence. There's no evidence of videos like that in this case. If there are videos like that on social media, they have not come into this case. And I have really gone out of my way. I have gone out of my way to avoid what is known to the internet and not known to this jury, to try to make sure that I don't get confused between what is known and what is not known. Marissa said Brian Albert's phone gone 9:22, order 9:23. Brian Higgins' phone gone 9:29. Brian Higgins' order was 9:30. Interesting, isn't it? Jay McCarthy said, I will be surprised if they call Proctor. I will too. They haven't provided any sort of evidence that makes me feel Karen Read is guilty. They put Proctor on and it gets even worse. According to the opening statements, it might. Andrea said 10 plus troopers on the witness list. There's a lot more law enforcement to go, for sure. If the defense has to call Trooper Proctor, would he be a hostile witness for them? They would have to go through the procedure to do that. So not necessarily, but they would have to go through, there will be a court procedure to do that, and they would have to go through that. But no, the court's not just going to give that to them necessarily. Motion to nickname Brian Higgins OJ. No, we're not nicknaming anyone OJ. We're just letting that be done. Arlene said new Bravo show, real butt dials of Canton. Brian Higgins has Higginsed himself enough. Salty Beach Girl Lori said, did I miss details of a Law & Order meetup? I was planning on traveling down, but I thought it wasn't happening. No, it is. It's going to be in the app on 5/31. So the details have been slow because my schedule has been complex, honestly. And my schedule has been complex. So finding where we have pockets has been hard. And I saw a number of you being like, CrimeCon, what? It is a weird name, but it is, I have not been before. From the conversations I've had with the organizers, they do a lot of work on making sure the victims' stories don't get lost in the stories that are being covered, in making sure that there is ethical and non-sensational coverage of cases. And I'm interested to see how that plays out. But I know there will be lots of law nerds there, and I'm interested to meet up with y'all and to see, Ian and Rob and JB from WFLA is going to be there. I know that Brian Enton is going to be there. And so I am interested to see some of the other folks that do what I do or related to what I do there. And I'm also interested because Maya from the Taking Care of Maya case and her family are speaking, and I'm very interested to hear their story from them. So yes, I can understand that the name seems off-putting. I get it. I'm interested to see how it goes, and I'm going to bring you along. So for those of you in the YouTube membership and on the app, I'm going to be bringing you guys along, and in the app I'll be giving you meetups. So let's see. Torres Montero said, I hope the defense talks more about his missing hat and shoe. How did they disappear if hit by a car? Yeah, and where did they go? How did they wander off? They don't just wander off of the snow by themselves. Defense says it's a cover-up. Prosecutors, witnesses acting like they covered up something. Weird, isn't it? With all the calls. Nick Katz said Chad Daybell prosecution was 28 or 29 days, over 40 witnesses. It was a well-run courtroom and an interesting trial. It's an extensive trial. Jen said, I live in Nashville. Well, Jen, I know you're in the app, so you'll get all the info. Next week, I'll receive my goodies from the Law Nerd Shop. So excited. Yay, Angel. I'm so glad they'll be there next week. The international shipping has been much smoother this round. Fat Yoga said there are a lot of body parts dialing phones. Has anyone noticed that this judge says, I'll let him have that if it's the prosecution objecting, but if it's the defense objecting, she says, I'll allow it. I have not noticed that. I have heard it go both ways, but Jay, I will be paying attention to that now that you've pointed it out, because I do hear a lot of, I'll let him have that. And it always is weird. Kylie needs a holiday. I mean, same. If I were John's family listening to everything so far, I'd be beyond horrified. No compassion from any witnesses from the night and a dodgy investigation. There were a few witnesses that were very empathetic, but it's been few. This is probably very hard testimony for everyone that's going on now. Alex said, first, super like, woo woo, huge fan from Boston. Well, cheers, Alex. I'm sure you are having an interesting time watching the Canton butt dial trial. So Steph said a lot of the prosecution's witnesses' behavior defies common sense, which means someone is lying. It is a lot. Marnie said, as a jail booking nurse, I can assure you no doors self-open. It's a process. You swipe, you wait, one door at a time. It is. So Inu said, love from Japan. I always enjoy. I know a lot more about American law than my own country's law because of you. Well, Inu, thank you. I know there have been some cases like the IRL streamers getting arrested in Japan, but I don't think that any of those are as public. Like the public trials in America is a whole American thing. So it is a whole special thing here, but I hope that it helps people understand how things operate here and helps people understand vis-a-vis their own country. This is going to be different for countries where US law is derived from. Like if you study England and their legal system, you will see where the US pulled from that legal system, both positively and reactively, because there's a lot of like, oh, we're going to do this way, which is the English tradition. And then there's some ways where it's like, England does this, we're not doing that. And so we get both sides of the history of the US law really being founded based on English law. It's like our Emily, would you dare call the American legal system like fanfic of the English legal system? I mean, it's kind of close. It's derived from and altered. And Jocelyn said, hey, Emily, I have a question. Do you think that we will ever find out why Karen Reed got charged with second-degree murder and not a lower charge? I don't know. I'm waiting to see why they upgraded, because they originally just charged her with the operating under the influence causing death and a hit and run causing death, and then they elevated it. I don't know. I don't know if it was the text to Higgins. That would be weird. I don't know. Rose said, Emily, your tumblers are perfect for kitten face rubs. Yeah, my cats love the little pyramid spikes on the Lawnard tumblers. Absolutely love them. Can I suggest Butt Dill or Butt Dilly Billy for the pickle? I mean, the pickle might have to move to Butt Dill. Right now, it's my cousin Dilly, but it might have to move to Butt Dill. It might. Tara said, when you have nothing to hide, you hide nothing. I understand that. I agree, especially when it comes to the evasiveness of testimony. But when people are asking to search your phone, you never know what can and will be used against you. So it is okay to say you're going to need a warrant for that. Just in the words of Jay-Z, you're going to need a warrant for that. I know my rights. You're going to need a warrant for that. Nothing wrong with saying that. Hicker said, EDB, what were the grand jury drinking? What, if anything, were the grand jury drinking? It's got to be Mick Ultra or Jameson and ginger. By the way, for those of you wondering, yes, I found more root beer whiskey yesterday and sat on my porch last night with a friend and had a root beer whiskey, and it was lovely. Michelle said, as law enforcement, they should also assume that their text between them might help the Commonwealth with a timeline. At the very least, why not help? I think they were trying to help and have it their way too. Will Newman Jughead Jones, I think I got that right. Question, I heard that this is an 8-week trial. We are on week 5 and the prosecution allowed to monopolize all the time and not allow the defense enough time to give their case. No, if it goes over, it goes over. The defense will get as much time as they need. So the court will start leaning in and cutting down the half days. But no, the defense will not lose time because the prosecution is slow. Jen said, how to spend my 43rd birthday with EDB. Duh. Good to see you. And there's lots of birthdays in the chat. So for all the birthdays in the chat, let's just a round of applause real quick. So happy birthday to everyone in the chat. Cammie said, what is it with this judge and all the objections? Some of the objections are proper. It's hard sometimes at rapid fire to derive why she is sustaining certain things. Can you explain what happens in a grand jury? Idaho Keeley, we have talked about that a bit, but in general, and we've talked about it a lot in the Rust proceeding, that's covered on this week's Quick Bits. So if you have not seen my update on Alec Baldwin, that's in Quick Bits this week. It's on the Quick Bits channel and on the audio feed for the podcast. It depends on the type of grand jury. So briefly, the prosecution presents evidence and the standard is not beyond a reasonable doubt, but probability, essentially. The standard is probable cause. So it's a much lower standard, but there's different ways they can do it. They can investigate, they can charge, they can affirm charges. It really varies by jurisdiction, but it is a proceeding without the defense, and it is a secret proceeding. Why aren't jurors allowed to know about the federal investigation? It's not relevant. Even in questions, they say in another hearing, yeah, it's not relevant, and it could be unduly prejudicial to one side or the other. Is it true that the state will not call Proctor? I don't know, Trevor. We're going to wait and see. I know he's on both witness lists. I think it would be silly. Does Proctor have to be called as a witness? I think the defense has to call him after the assertions they made in their opening statement. I think they have to. How's long to Dill in the cold? Blue steel. That's funny. Kelsey said in Canadian court, we start with oye, oye. I did a talk for the Bar Association in Maryland, and they say they also start with oye. And I was like, oye? Like, hear ye, oye, oye. Los Angeles was literally like, court is now called to order. The Honorable Judge whoever presiding. PB&J said, in my opinion, Officer John O'Keefe's true friends and family were so upset by his death that they needed someone to blame to make it make sense. Enter Karen Reed. I don't think them believing what they were sold was malicious, just tangible. I don't know how his family feels. I don't know if we'll ever truly know, but we might down the road. Court is still in other testimony, and I think they will be till the afternoon, you guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to end stream and give the mods and everyone else a mini-min. I am going to do the life things that I need to do, and I will cover this afternoon tomorrow. What time tomorrow? I'm not sure yet what time tomorrow, but I will let you know in the app. I will put a community tab post up on YouTube when I know what time tomorrow. And anything we missed today, I'll cover tomorrow. I'm sure other streamers, I know Runkle was streaming. I don't know if Alita was streaming today. I know other streamers are also covering this when it comes back, but I really don't know if they're going to have other witnesses today. And so the app will keep you posted. The app is completely free to you. We are rolling out a membership side of the app. I will let you guys know that more. We are rolling it out into our member spaces first. But if there is nothing else today, I will keep you in the loop on the app. I will keep you in the loop for the meetup. I will keep you in the loop for behind the scenes at CrimeCon. I've got some behind the scenes coverage that I'm doing for our members, and I will let you guys know. The app is my first place of letting you guys know stuff. I don't go tweet on the street very much anymore because it just ends up with body parts, all of the naked body parts in the replies, and I'm like, I mean, okay, but it's not an easy way to convey information or intake information anymore to me. And then if I'm looking at replies, the replies like jump into other stuff, and I'm like, what? The app is much easier. Instagram some, but the app is much easier. It was being broadcast on NBC 10. They just figured it out. We could hear it and pulled it. Oh, I didn't know that at all. That's not good. Because I couldn't hear anything on NBC 10, and we're on NBC 10. So I don't know if it was feeding out to other stations. I'm not going to go looking for it. The court made it very clear what their order is, and I'm not going to go look for anything. I know that there are reporters from Boston publications in the courtroom, and I trust they will summarize it. So if we get to any other witnesses today, which we may not, it might just, the judge said a full day, but they might not have other witnesses, then we will see. So all I can tell you is I'm not sure what's going to happen the rest of the day. Download the app and we'll figure it out. And if something wild happens and I need to stream later this evening, then maybe we'll do that. I just don't know. We will see. I will keep you in the loop. Law Nerds, I appreciate you. New Quick Bits came out for you yesterday. If you missed it because it was Memorial Day, that's over there. It's got the updates with Baldwin. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being a Law Nerd. Thank you for being the best chat on the internet. I'm so excited to see you. And we'll figure out the rest of the day. But trust, I'll keep you in the loop better than I did last week. Because neurodivergent, sometimes I screw it up. Chat, you're the best. I'll see you soon.
You can stay up to date with everything I'm covering and fast notifications on our free iOS and Android app at lawnerdapp.com or search the App Store for Law Nerd. You can also follow me around social media, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Emily Show, with quick bits dropping every Monday, summarizing everything I do here on the live streams on Tuesday and Thursday for when you just have time for the quick bits. Thanks for being a Law Nerd.